Hi everyone, welcome back to another Reddit cheating story. Before we start, please hit the subscribe button and notification bell if you love to watch more cheating stories. My comedy cheat, and a question.
I, M49, thought about an old girlfriend, F55, the other day, and that brought up a question that I've never been able to answer, so maybe someone here can help me.
The whole thing was kind of funny thinking back on it, hence the post title. TL, doctor couldn't figure out how to break up with a girlfriend, luckily caught her emotionally cheating twice, navigated a truly heinous breakup with her only to have her spend the next few years contacting me and trying to get back together. What the hell was she thinking? This all happened a few years ago, when I was living on the West Coast. I got an email from a popular dating site reminding me about a deactivated account that I had completely forgotten. I hadn't touched it for at least a decade, and was confused as to why the email was sent. I was curious to see what I had written 10 years before, so I clicked the link, logged in and read through my old profile. Once done, I closed the browser and prepared to forget about it for another decade. A few hours later, I received an email from a woman via the dating site who said she'd like to meet me. I was initially confused but soon realized that I must have reactivated my account while I was reading through it. I sent her a slightly embarrassed reply explaining the situation, and also explained that I now lived in a city about an hour away from her. She didn't seem to mind, and offered to come visit me in the city. I checked her profile. She was attractive, intelligent and articulate, so I thought, okay, why not? Indeed. Long story short, we met about a week later and ended up passionately making out in the back of a taxi with enough enthusiasm that I still cringe thinking about what the driver had to endure for the entirety of our trip. In short, we hit it off. We ended up dating, but by the first month I started to sense some red flags. I couldn't put my finger on anything specific, but something was off. It was at the second month that she confided that she had cheated on her ex-husband with his best friend. I knew that she was divorced, but the cheating story was pretty repulsive, so I put my guard up. By the third month, my sense of dread had increased and I was definitely no longer feeling the relationship, though I still wasn't sure what I wanted to do. If I'm honest, I was staying at this point because the sex was really good. She seemed to think so as well, as I could only rarely get us out of bed to go to a gallery exhibit or a restaurant. Afterwards, she would simply drag me back to bed, and that was where we ended up spending most of our time. It was in the middle of the third month that I caught her sexting with the man she had cheated with. We were at my apartment, and I glanced down and saw the discussion on her phone when a new message dinged in. At this point, sex or no, I decided to break things off with her. Things were just getting too weird, and frankly I was looking for a way out anyway. I sat her down, explained that I had found the messages and told her that I thought we should probably take a break to think about what we wanted for ourselves. What happened next took me by surprise. I had just assumed that she was moving on with her old cheat buddy, but I was very wrong. She got an incredibly pained look on her face, began shaking uncontrollably and then let out a wail that I was sure could be heard through the entire building. She began sobbing and screaming that she didn't want to break up, that her cheating buddy didn't mean anything to her, that she wanted to marry me, that she had never had better sex or more fun with anyone, that she had wished we had met decades earlier so that she could have had my children, and on and on. It got so bad, and loud, that I had to stop pretending to be angry and spent the rest of the night trying to calm her down. I had no choice, as I couldn't figure out how to get her through the halls and out of the building without my neighbors calling the police due to all of her screaming. By about 4 a.m. she had calmed enough that I could think about getting some sleep, although I wasn't happy about having to sleep in the same room with her. She was clearly a different person at this point, and I didn't really want to close my eyes around her, but sheer exhaustion got the better of me and I passed out. In the morning, I was so frazzled and shell-shocked that I decided to just let things ride for the moment, until I could come up with a safer way to break up with her. That safe way finally arrived, as a week later I discovered that she was on multiple dating sites talking to other men. When I confronted her, she started right back with a pained look and trembling, but I dexterously maneuvered past another shouting session and managed to send her on her way in a taxi. We spent a few days sending mildly outraged emails back and forth to each other, and then agreed to just split. Now here's the stranger part. I didn't hear from her after that for a few weeks, and then she began sending texts and emails stating that she wanted to get back together. I decided to just ignore them and put her in my past, but she turned out to be very resilient. She spent the next 2 years sending me requests for meetings, proclamations of love, poetry, angry diatribes, etc. I admit I didn't read most of them, and I didn't respond to any, but every so often I would open one and read it just out of intellectual curiosity as to what she could possibly be thinking. And that's my question, a question I've never been able to resolve. What exactly was she thinking? Have any of you ever heard or seen anything like this? How can someone be both so uninterested and interested in a relationship at the same time? What possible convolution of thought can create a situation where someone who is clearly interested in cheating outside of a relationship can then spend 2 whole years fighting to get back into that relationship? I mean, think about it. 2 years of messages. 2 years of pleading. I'm happy to hear any thoughts or comments. I can't say that this has kept me up at night, but it does cross my mind occasionally. Thanks in advance for any light you can shine on this. Here are some of the best comments from our community. You can't explain crazy, so don't even try. Just continue to mentally nope on anything she sends and move on. She sounds unstable. You are lucky to still have your package intact after falling asleep in your place after confronting her. Maybe you didn't have decent carving knives. At any rate, count your lucky stars that she can only email you now and not get basic instinct sensations as she watch you sleep. Sounds mental. She seems not to know what she wants, that either being indecisive as to with whom she really wants to stay together, as in, sometimes you realize what you have in a person only when they're left or about to leave. Or she needs the confirmation. Or wants to live polygamous but can't, doesn't want to tell you. Either way, I don't think you can tell what she wants or what she was thinking if she quite obviously hasn't figured that out herself. Crazy is as crazy does. No explanations or understanding possible. Thank you for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Remember to subscribe and hit the notification bell.